let's go ahead and get in a little in this infiltration situation here, because I think that it's important we give tools to people. You guys got to understand, if you're at one of these things, if it's for this movement or any movement that you feel it's time to get out in the street for, you look out for these things that just don't really make sense. This one was so obvious, I had to call it out, and I couldn't find the clip of me. I got everybody to chant "Fed, Fed, Fed," but this one is when I first noticed it. Watch this guy. He's not. I think he's a little. The MK Ultra is not really working well on him because he's a little confused about what he's supposed to do. But right before I pressed record on this guy was up in the faces of the cops, and I think they even knew he was fake, and they weren't doing anything. Where everybody else that got up to them, they would physically get them away. This guy had a free pass. He had a free pass to go up and do weird shit to the cops, and I thought it was strange. Look what he's wearing, and we'll talk about it. But this got everyone's attention that this is a total fraud. Here we go.
We are asking you questions. We are, bro. We all are, bro. We all are. We're talking shit, but you need to tone the fuck down, bro. For real.
Okay, what is he wearing? He's wearing he's got the communist flag behind him. He's got a Free Palestine scarf around him, covering his face. And if you guys see the front of his sweatshirt, it says "Property of Allah." So he's doing every single fear tactic that the right loves to conflate everything together. Nobody dresses like this. This is not what people do. It's not a thing. It's not a thing. And then he starts calling us all Democrats. You Democrat, as he's wearing a communist. None of it makes any sense. And again, the part that's important is we didn't get this on camera, but he just he was literally up with his flag in the faces of the police. Nobody else got to do that. It was really, really strange. But watch what I do next from behind the camera. It's kind of funny.
You're agitating right now like a motherfucker. Bro. We're really protesting on here, bro. Yes, we are, bro.
Standing here saying nothing.
It's what you call a classic infiltrator right here. 100%. Look at this.
Thank you, bro.
Look at this. Look at trying to
That's not what we're representing right now, man.
I love how he's also trying to conflate the Free Palestine with communism. Oh, you got all the ones to scare everyone, right? It's infiltration right there. It's not real. You're trying to put all these.
Stop being lame. Just go.
Yeah.
Stop being fucking lame, bro.
So this is what you have to do. You have to get loud about this and get everybody to notice it, and then and yell "Fed, Fed, Fed." We had people doing that, and we saw that at January 6th, and it's good. You got to get the crowd to be aware. And people might ask, and Jay, and I get it. There's if you're just seeing this kind of idea that you never thought of that this was a thing, you might be asking, Matt, why does it matter? He's not doing it. Like, this isn't like burning a car. What's the even if he is a fake, who cares? Who cares? He's showing everybody around him. If we didn't call this out, if we didn't vocalize this and have everybody notice, him going up to the cops was sending a message, a subtle message that it's time to do it. And guess what? He gets to go home safe. You don't. He gets to go home safe.
Yeah.
You don't.
But you know what, Matt? I gotta say, Matt, I'm truly disappointed because they didn't even have like a Russian flag on his pants and like some Iranian shoes. Like, I feel like they should have put an Iranian flag on his shoes because they missed the spot, man. Like, there's so many more of America's enemies they could have thrown into that costume they gave him. So yeah, like it is funny because like you see them trying to wrap up everything people fear into one person and then have that be the center, like of the press. And imagine if people had actually followed him, they probably had nice clips of that guy over there, and they were ready to get on the news and tell everyone, look, China and the Muslim Brotherhood, like they're right here, they're in your face and they're ready to go. So yeah, man, it's crazy that they're actually getting caught though, and hopefully, like we can continue to learn from this and spot them, while they're doing it. But again, people, just remember, as the surveillance state, like picks up, they're going to be looking to do this, and it's with every single protest, man. And so yeah.
For our right-wing populist audience, and we know you're out there, we love you guys. Please, we need you right now to be vocal about this because you saw what happened on January 6th. You saw Ray Epps doing his thing. We'll remind you who Ray Epps is. I pulled the clip, one of them. There's a few clips of him. I don't know if this is the one where there's a guy that did what I just did. What I did in LA 2 days ago. The guy goes, Fed, Fed, Fed. And everybody picks up on it. You have to be vocal and you can get everybody to say, this is fake. This is not what we're doing. Here's Ray to remind you guys, January 5th, the night before, Ray Epps is the honest guy that showed up for free speech. And he wanted everyone to know we're going into the Capitol. Really? Is that the plan, Ray Epps? Is that the plan?
Get out there. I'm probably going to go to jail for it, okay? Tomorrow, we need to go into the Capitol. Into the Capitol. Peacefully. Fed.
There it is. Fed. That's what you have to do. So
Fed.
If you're not gonna do shit in the Capitol, you're not do anything. I got bare masks. What the fuck are you gonna do? Honestly.
This reminds me of the congressional testimony where they were asking the FBI director, did you guys have any informants there that day? No comment. No comment.
Right. And we followed this story. We know Ray Epps was a Fed. We know that. And he was first he was on the FBI most wanted list, and then he was removed. He was gone. And then they came up because they had to cover their bases. They had to come up with a fake thing that we did give him something, and he got, it was a misdemeanor, and then he got it removed. So what are you guys accusing us of, huh? But at the end of the day, we know for a fact there were at least 200 Feds at January 6th. You guys know that. You guys know this is how it works, and this is how infiltrations work. We had and I didn't tell you this, Jay, but we might have a chance to finish this interview that we started. Craig Pasta, I was on with Truthwire yesterday, and we had the ex sheriff of LA on with us, and yes, and I didn't know he was coming on, and Craig's like, we got like 5 minutes with him, ask him some questions, and he was the sheriff. It's Sheriff Villanova, who was the sheriff during Black Lives Matter, during George Floyd, and we wanted to ask him about this, and he's definitely he's very hardcore against Newsom. He thinks that he's doing a crappy job as governor, and he understands how infiltrations work because he was vocal about January 6th. He knows that, and he has no problem showing up for a 5-minute interview with Craig Pasta, which I think is awesome of him. Mm-hmm. We just had a minute, and I asked him, I go, dude, and I'm going to ask our viewers the same question I asked him, Villanova, and we're going to get a follow-up interview with him very soon, so I will continue this conversation. But this is a question you got to ask yourself as a non-tribal thinker, which we hope you are. If they're capable of putting a Ray Epps out there, if they're capable of putting 200 Feds out there to create the scene that they want to create, don't you think they're just as capable of doing it on the other side in a way that works in that regard? It's not a one size fits all. It's not, so obviously it could be a different tactic, but can they, if they have the means to do it over here, don't you think they might at least consider doing it over there? And if they would consider it, why haven't they done it if you don't think they have? Or could this be the thing? Could this be actually it? That's what I'm asking viewers to understand, is that once they figure out how to do something, they're not just going to stop.
It gets weaponized against both sides, which is why, the divide and conquer strategy is so important, to what they're doing, because if they can keep us divided, it's easier for them to push their will on us. So that's why they pick all these wedge issues that they know are going to further inflame these situations. So and unfortunately, real lives are being destroyed in the process, and it just goes to show you how little the people who were coming up with these plans, care about what happens to the rest of us, man. So hopefully I'm glad people are catching on to it now, though, and the infiltrators are being called out in real time.
Yeah. I want to show you an example that Fiorella found that we didn't actually have time to cover on yesterday. So I wanted to do it on, because she did a good backstory on this. This is a man, his girlfriend was arrested by ICE and he tells us that ICE wanted them to riot, instructing them what they needed to do. And so he's telling them this is insane, guys. So check this out. This is a story that Fiorella covered. This is happening here right now. So there's different techniques. You have to be aware of this. And when people tell you this, listen to them.
And so what do you and your girlfriend do at that point?
We get off and we see everybody else getting off to record. Peacefully, we do not throw anything at them. We're not yelling at them. We're just recording what's going on because people deserve to know the truth. This is why you guys are here. This is because, you know, these things need to be documented. This is what they wanted. They wanted people to riot. They wanted the people to start fireworks. They wanted the people to start burning out. Why? Because this is the effect. So they can make us look bad. So they can make us seem that we're the ones causing this, that we started it. We didn't start this.
So you jump out of your car and you start recording. So what happens from there? Tell me what happens with your girlfriend.
As soon as we start recording, that's when they start pointing the tear gas guns and they start shooting everything. Everything, everywhere. So we can't breathe. We can't see anything. She has her phone. One of the agents, I hear them go for the people with the phones. They went straight for my girlfriend. They ripped her out of my arms. They took her. They threw me. They threw me her phone.
And so what do you and your girlfriend do at that point?
That's crazy, man. Wish I could say I was surprised, but wish I could say I was surprised. But you know, the way that they're actually trying to instigate, you know, across, you know, every single protest, I don't know. I just really hope, you know, people are aware of the money ties, you know, between Trump, you know, and Palantir, because that really explains everything, you know, we're seeing now to the grassroots level. So if we don't get to a place where like the grassroots are looking at the big picture and ways to unify, they're just going to keep getting worse and worse, man, you know, with these attacks. So
yeah. And you know what? I got a couple comments on here. It was, thank you, Ed Rams. It's Villanueva. I pronounced it wrong. We will confront him some more. And Kelly James on YouTube says that ex-mayor dude was doing propaganda. Yes, that's so. Look, this is what our job is, to hold everyone accountable. And if you can shine the light on one side, but you're going to protect the other, we're going to call you out on why are you protecting the other. You got to look at all that. It's happening on both sides. And I don't even like that term anymore, Jay. I don't want to say the term both sides, because that, to me, that shows that, hey, we're showing both sides. We're a balanced news network, Jay. No, it's not. It's not both sides. It's stepping back from both sides, whatever that is, and saying, let's talk about the dysfunction of the entire system, which is dysfunctional on purpose. Yeah.
Well, you can present both sides and then put it in context. There's nothing wrong. And usually there's not even two sides. Usually there's a lot more sides than two sides. And you know, if you present it as this, you know, like, I think immigration is the perfect example of that, because it's presented to us actually as two sides, right? You're either a racist or you're for open borders. Those are the only two options like that we have. So when in reality, if you drill down to the actual issues, no one who's coming in and out, having a fair process, having a transparent process, you know, for what happens, like, you know, we could easily come to an agreement between both sides. But instead of people doing that, you know, they use it as instead of the oligarchy allowing that process to naturally play out, they just rev up fears, you know, like on each side of the issue. So it's a common thing.
Here's some other original footage we shot at the 101 thing that went down the night before last. This was before nightfall. You guys probably heard, because this was a big one. I'll turn the volume down. We'll keep this on in the background. But there were actually 5 of these Waymo vehicles lined up and torched. And so go ahead.
That's why I actually want to ask your opinion on this, right, Matt, because I understand why people, you know, who feel like they're being targeted want to bring the flag of the country, you know, like that they're from, right? But you see how in this video now there's a Mexican flag, you know, like being flown, like right there. If the whole reason for the protest is that you want to stay here, right? Like, in my opinion, I'm not saying that you can't be proud, like of your heritage, because I'm an immigrant myself. But if I, was at a protest about staying in the country, I would probably highlight, why I want to be in America. Like, I would talk about, the values of the Constitution that I agree with, like the good things that America has been a part of. Like, I feel like as a strategy to get to the end goal, I feel like, some of these protesters should at least be aware of how, it can look if the issue is specifically about staying in the country. I'm not saying all protesters everywhere like need to carry an American flag with them to a protest, but if it's a protest specifically about staying in the country, don't you think it could be like slightly better, optics? Because it's so easy for the right to go, not the right, but dishonest people in general to just weaponize this and say, look, this is an invasion. We have all these foreign flags. You have fires burning in the streets, and it's people from all over. And the truth is, it's not just Mexicans that are being affected by this. Like, there's immigrants from a lot of different countries that are being affected by it. So, if you just highlight one, like your situation, instead of taking the overall approach, I feel like if they were to, and obviously, I'm not in that protest, so I can't tell them what to do, but don't you think it could be better strategically for them to make their point and gain more support? Like if they were to consider using more American flags, in the protest too.
No, that's excellent point, Jay. I think that this is a discussion we are going to want to have with, the PSL, the socialist groups that are there, and to talk with them. We're going to try and do that throughout the week and have these discussions. But the problem is with this whole protest thing, is that it's not very well organized because there's so many different groups trying to do something and their messaging is off. The reason I'm showing this one is important because when you line up, this looks like this to me. I'm not 100% sure, but everything checks most of the boxes that this was a PSYOP lining up these 5 cars. They're Waymos. It's designed to send a message to, we are against your the world you're building for us. We're against it for whatever reason. We're afraid of it. We're threatened by it. We're going to punish your app, the Waymo app, where there's no driver in the car. So it's almost like this theatrical presentation. It's like performance art where we're sending a message. When we say it's they're pretending that it's a message being sent on behalf of the people that are against this changing this new technocracy age that we're moving into. As Klaus Schwab says, it's the 4th industrial revolution that is coming, and it's either going to be Elon and it's going to be somebody or we know Alex Karp or Peter Thiel in the driver's seat, and it doesn't matter who it is. It's the point is that you have Palantir doing this. This is symbolic to me, Jay. This is symbolic of the fight they want it to be, and they're going to say, you're either on our side, the civilized people that want a better world, or you're on the side of the people that are acting out of fear and they're vandalizing and they're afraid of change and they don't know what they're doing. At best case, they mean well, but they're completely lost and they need to be stopped. And we need to elevate to power. Palantir will take care of everything. Everything's going to be great. Don't worry about the burnt Waymos. We're going to make sure everyone can get in one. Nobody has to drive again, by the way. Just so you know, nobody ever has to drive ever again. We got you covered. We'll get you to where you need to go. Not that you need to go anywhere. Everything you can just stay home. Actually, you don't even need to drive at all.
Can you imagine being an activist, right? Say an activist even against like big tech or something like that. Like suppose you were like anti-Google and now pro free speech or whatever reason it is you're protesting them, and you can only depend on Google's transport system like Waymo to get where you're going, and like you gotta take this to the protest about Google. I do think, I really hope as people are out there organizing, I just want people to think about how to bring in the biggest number of people to your side and how to find more common ground, to widen the movement, man. The wider the movements are, the easier it'll be. And I think we're actually at a special moment in time right now, Matt, because we have two examples, like literally back to back, right? Of different groups having these tactics, like used against them. Like, in BLM, there was, people who were protest in the BLM issue on the left. You had people protesting, police brutality. And now then we had the vaccine mandates, and now the immigration protests. It's like each side, we can clearly see it happening to the other side in front of our eyes. So I think we should take advantage of this opportunity to unite, as one. So, like just focus on the issues that affect all of us. And it's easy for people on the right and the left to find common ground if they want to establish that common ground.
Well, let's start right with this, because this isn't ending. We're not at the end of it looking back and saying we'll check in with you guys at the next one. It's happening now, guys, and I'm going to tell you, we got intel, we got word on what's happening next in these I guess you'd say this the immigration protests against Trump. They're pinpointing the enemy. The enemy is Trump, racist Trump, out of control Hitler Trump. We told you not to vote for Trump because he was the next Hitler and he's bringing on Nazi Germany. We're here. We've arrived. And the date they're setting for this arrival of Hitler's here is this Saturday. So the messaging is June 14th. June 14th is Saturday. So you guys understand this is happening right now. June 14th happens to be Flag Day. It happens to be Trump's birthday. And it happens to be a 250th anniversary of our military. So there is a military celebration day planned. Trump wants to be the guest of honor and wants to have this big celebration theater piece. And it's all, by the way, guys, it's all theater. It's all theater. Trump's not unique to this theater. He's just embellishing the role that he rightfully earned. Is the guy. He's the pizzazz. This is the comedian in chief who tweets out jokes and doesn't take really anything seriously and just likes to play the game show host. He gets to do this now. He gets to be in his throne and have this great celebration of American exceptionalism, which is really Israeli exceptionalism, by the way. But with that said, there is organizing happening. And when I say organizing, this is where we have to be careful, because there's people legitimately mad about this, but they don't understand this was the next step. Los Angeles, mark my word, guys, Los Angeles was used as the stepping stone for the next piece, which is LA times 50. Every state is going to be doing what we just did in LA. This is happening. Okay. So I don't know if we can stop it from happening, but we have to understand that when it does happen, we have to be smarter about what's going on in the street. All of the provocateurs, all of the theater, all of the not real things that you think is real is not real. And it's designed to divide us and put another, Craig Pasta says this, it's to fabricate another color revolution that distracts us from the class war that we're actually in. And we need to be all on the same side, battling the technocracy that is coming in this fourth industrial revolution. Let's look at the information we found here, and I want your thoughts on this, Jake, because I don't know because no one else is talking about this. I'm trying to connect the dots on this. June 14th. Here's what we've discovered, and you guys can look for these hashtags. I think there's something about like a king, like no kings or something. They're using that. There's something there about king. I'm trying to figure it out, but no King's Day. So keep your eyes on June 14th. This is from Gypsy Patriot. Day of Defiance. So they're calling it a day of defiance. The protests are set across our country. There's your Flag Day. There's your Trump's birthday. And there's your 250th Army celebration. It's a parade in D.C., but they're using L.A. as the test for how we can get people in the street to show that they can't be controlled, they can't be contained, and they need to be taught, as Laura Loomer says, they need to be taught a lesson. Okay, there's your map. These are the events being planned. LA was the catalyst for this. DC is going to be the destination, and everybody else will be affected because you if you're watching right now, you're in the States. You live in a state that you see a dot, at least one dot in right now. So be aware and know this is happening. And then let's talk about what we can do about it. 'Cause I don't know. Maybe you have a different idea, Jay. I don't know if you don't stop it, but you have to maybe be smarter about it and be ahead of it and respond vocally about it to help keep people, understanding and not confused and not doing stupid shit, but understand what is actually happening.
Yeah, I mean, my only advice I would say would be to make sure that you're always thinking about the big picture, and you have clear goals behind why you're out there. So if I wanted to protest on this issue, I would say I'm protesting for the right to due process, for my constitutional right to privacy, and those two issues right there, because that's essentially what these immigrants are talking about, right? Like the ones who are not just immigrants, but the Americans who are against these, ICE raids. So if you boil it down to that, that's an issue that every American, agrees on. So what I would hope people, do is they take a moment to really understand what the end goal is. So you have to do a little bit of research yourself. You have to learn about, who's funding Trump, and then you'll start to get the big picture. And the wider knowledge that's available in the country of that big picture, like the better prepared we'll be to actually stop it from coming into action. So part of that is calling out Zionism for sure. Part of that is calling out the forces behind Zionism, and part of that is recognizing the system itself and the role it plays in keeping all this in power. And when I say the system, I'm specifically talking about the way it's tailored for the establishment to do election fraud, but not in the way that the right presents it. They're literally just probably going there changing the databases, for all we know. So think about the big issues, have a clear goal behind why you're protesting, and as you're out there, just know every protest right now is going to be used to manufacture demand for the surveillance state. Like 1984, that's what they're going for. Minority Report, you said it right, Matt. They've been prepping us with the movies, and we can see what the end goal is. So now we really have to just think big picture, because everyone is focusing on the individual issue at hand and not the big picture. Yeah. So that's what I would encourage people to do, and just try to look for ways to connect with people who you think disagree with you right now, because and again, this is a whole nother topic, so I don't want to derail the conversation. But if you are concerned about illegal immigration and over immigration to the country, but you're not aware of the role that America plays in destabilizing a lot of the countries that immigrants are coming from, and you're not pressuring your politicians to take a stand against that, then you're not approaching the issue in a productive way either. So there's so much common ground that both sides could find. I am in favor of legal immigration. I am in favor of also knowing who's coming in and out the country, and I'm an immigrant myself. So I'm against a lot of the policies that the Democrats, are putting out there, but I'm also not fully aligned with what Donald Trump, is doing. So if the closer we get to the big picture, I think the more we'll find out, we agree. So yeah, and specific to your question of what should people do this weekend, keep an eye out for the signs that people who are extra loud, keep an eye out for those signs that maybe they are agent provocateurs. So pay attention to your surroundings and don't let them derail the peaceful protest.
And there's one more thing that we showed, that the loud dude that was so obviously a provocateur, but there's more subtle ones that are not being loud, and you have to look out for this. When people that come out, they come out of out of nowhere. They're not with a particular group. They're just by themselves, fully masked, just totally subtle. and they have stuff in their pockets, they got stuff in their hands, and they're ready to chuck it at police, and then they're gone. And no one sees them again. I actually followed 2 of them at the 101 protest 2 days ago, and I saw what happened with this guy, and he was just this really small, and he met up with a friend who also looked like they were dressed exactly the same way, and then they bolted. They were gone. And what they were doing is they were throwing rocks at the police at the bottom of the 101 area, and that gave them, and the police need that ammunition to just say, okay, now we fire into the crowd. Now we can do it because we just had a rock come at us. So there's that's called escalating, and it's on purpose, and you look out for that. If you see it, call it out, say, hey, who are you? What are you doing? Hey, where's that guy? What do you do? So like, it's not going to stop it, but at least it'll get more people's attention to be more aware. And maybe you'll be standing next to someone who's got like some weird device and gadget, and you're like, what are you doing, dude? Hey, and what you do is you don't try and take them down. Be loud. Say, hey, what's this guy got in his hand? What are you doing? Who are you with? Do that. That's a good strategy. So if they're trying to be soft about it, go say, whoa, what is this guy about? Hey, come here. Hey, guys, look at this. And people like to respond. They go, whoa, what's this guy talking about?
Excellent point.
So draw attention. Say, hey, and you guys, it's a fun chant, dude. When you guys can start doing fed, everybody goes, we got it fed. It's almost like exciting. It's like, because you feel like you accomplished something. We just stopped an infiltration. We just stopped it. So let's find those guys with the rocks, with the weird gadgets, and they're not with anyone. They just kind of come out of nowhere. Hey, who is this guy? Who are you with? Where are you going? What's in your hand? Fed.
And use it as an opportunity just to connect with people, man, and talk about, like how we got here, man. And if we can start, like in addition to stopping the agent provocateurs, but also using these protests as a way to, connect more and build these networks, I think we could be in a good place, man. So, hopefully the right, can take a principled stance on this issue and look at the overlap between what's happened to them and what's happening right now. So we could, find that common path forward.